But I want you to imagine my surprise when I realized I am probably the first guy in the Japanese learning space to talk about pitch accent. We all know that there is controversy with me and pitch accent. So I made a video. I threw out this volley towards all these pitch accent people, and it was called Pitch Accent is Dumb or Pitch Accent is Stupid, Change My Mind. Has anyone in Japan ever brought up pitch accents to you in casual conversation? Never, not even in advanced conversation. Your Japanese friend who told you that pitch accent is very important for Japanese? Retro Nick, I grew up in Japan. Sorry, I never heard about it. I watched Dogen and this other girl and even Amo Misa talking about pitch accent. And the more I watch, the more I think it's stupid. It's adding a layer of complexity that even Japanese people don't know. I don't think it helps. The only people that are gonna get very, very bad pitch accent are people that never ever listened to Japanese or never heard a native speaker say it when they were learning. And I basically said, it's so dumb to focus on pitch accent when there's so many other things you need to learn. If you mess up pitch accent 99% of the time, it's not a problem because of context. This is my thought process. So I had that video. Then Matt versus Japan made a video where he refuted it, saying George is wrong.
Before we jump into analyzing the arguments that George made, I actually want to take a look at a video of him speaking Japanese and point out to you guys exactly what level George's pitch accent is at. Now, I know this is going to seem like I'm just attacking George or being kind of mean, but it's actually going to be really important for the argument that I'm going to make later on. So here I have George's Ego Egg channel. This is his YouTube channel that is targeted at a Japanese audience, and he makes videos about learning English. And so let's just take a look at the newest video on this channel, which is from 2 years ago. I guess he doesn't really post this anymore. So I'm just going to point out whenever I personally notice a pitch accent mistake.
お久しぶりです。以前のビデオをアップロードしてからなんと10ヶ月経っています。そのビデオも最近のビデオではなかった。その時10ヶ月前のビデオじゃなかった。多分2年くらい前のビデオだったんですけど、見つけてアップロードしました。今日は特別生放送で新しいシリーズをこのチャンネルでやりたいと思います。このチャンネルは、これから復活させたいと思います。英語生分析という番組になります。以前は日本語で何回かやっています。
So I'm going to stop it right there. That was just over 30 seconds of George speaking Japanese, and I wasn't counting as I'm going, but I'll put the number on the screen. So just keep in mind how many pitch accent mistakes George made within about 30 seconds of speaking Japanese off the cuff.
And then there was a meeting of the minds, and we both got together and we talked about it. I'm George Trombley, and I made a video the other day called Pitch Accent is Stupid, Change My Mind. Then Matt made a response called George is Wrong, and the summary of my entire argument was basically pitch accent is stupid, which is what I said, which I came out a little bit strong, I would say. But the idea was, for me personally, at that very moment, I thought it's too much for a beginner and it's too complicated. We'll see how I feel today after this debate. I'll let Matt introduce himself and then I'll set up how we're going to make this go that me and Matt have already agreed to. So go ahead, Matt.
I'm Matt, for any of you guys who don't know me. Like George said, I'm amazing at Japanese. My pitch is flawless. George messaged me all the time how he's really jealous of me, but I think pitch accent is pretty important, and I think that all Japanese learners who are even remotely serious about learning the Japanese language should expose themselves to some pitch accent study to at least some degree. And by the way, I don't have flawless pitch accent, by the way. That was a joke. Please don't hold me to that.
He's very humble, for the record. Very humble man.
Yeah, I mean, probably the most humble out of all the Japanese content creators on YouTube.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
And then after that, I made another video where I looked at a Japanese linguist talking about it, and it was fascinating, and I learned a bunch there. I've been teaching Japanese now for about 25 years. And in those 25 years, I had never heard of something called pitch accent. It had never come up. If you add on pitch accent to a language where it really hasn't ever been a focus on, at least in my entire life of learning, if you add that to the language learning component, the chances of you quitting Japanese due to the frustration of kanji, lengthening, double consonants, double vowels, hiragana, katakana, verb conjugation, words, whether they're onyomi or kunyomi, these are so many more things that you have to learn about. Now, to add on top of that, you're going to add on that this pitch accent component. The chances of you giving up because it's just too hard are high, and that's something that I want to avoid. There was this website, and I started clicking around. I ended up going to their Facebook page, and I started watching this video right here. So here he's explaining what pitch accent is to a Japanese audience, and he specifies that he's not a teacher of Japanese, but he is a scientist involved in the study of Japanese accent and linguistic related things. And I have to really say, the final thing is it's not dumb, but it's not worth it to learn it so early on is what I feel like right now. But I want you to imagine my surprise when I realized I am probably the first guy in the Japanese learning space to talk about pitch accent. What? Me? George Trombley, the guy that only a few years ago said pitch accent is dumb, and I'm on record saying I didn't know anything about pitch accent until I had you guys ask me what I think about it, and then I learned about Dogen, and I learned about Matt versus Japan, and I went and watched some of their videos. And Matt, by the way, makes brilliant videos. I think Dogen's a brilliant creator as well. I disagree with their focus on pitch accent. It seems a little bit making a problem and then selling the solution is what it feels like to me. It would be like me hyper evangelizing that Japanese verbs have this magical property that we need to really figure out, and I have a solution. You can buy my course. Here's the thing. I released a video the other day, which was the 10th video in the George and Keiko series. It was a rework. It's called Techniques to Sound Better in Japanese. And one of the very first things I talk about is what I called whispered sounds. And me and Keiko talk about how you don't flatly say a sound. And we talk about there being an envelope. And I talk about how when I edited sounds, I would see that there would be a small part of the sound going into a larger part of the sound. Whispered sounds. 耳打ちした音. Although Japanese is a, I, u, e, o, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. Some words, if you don't pronounce the first portion, 最初の部分をあんましはっきり言わないと it sounds really good. すごくよく聞こえるやつなんですよ。For example, 例えば、お母さん。これはお母さんじゃないですね。It's お母さん。The O is very quiet. I realized the whispered sounds while cutting sounds for YesJapan.com. I noticed that some sounds, when we take a sound, we cut it, and then you enlarge the size of the sound, you do the volume increase, and I noticed that some sounds were just very minuscule, very minuscule. ね、音を切るときにたまには例えば、お母さんだったらお母さんになってるんですよね。
ああ、そうだね。山がちゃんとこう。
そう。So if you want to say お母さん、お父さん、けいこさん言ってください。
お母さん、お父さん、お兄さん、お姉さん、妹、弟。はい、
O はほとんど消えてる場合がありますね。
そうなんだね。じゃあちょっと小さめに言ったら聞こえるってこと？
そうなの。
I was talking about and recommending that people pay attention to pitch accent. How crazy is that? In 2002, 22 official years ago, this man right here was telling you about pitch accent, but did not understand that that's what it was. I had no idea what it was. And only the other day did I realize it. Now, I want you to know, I actually, when I realized it, reached out to Matt versus Japan. I sent him a message on Discord. I said, hey, man, I really think you need to watch this video with me. I didn't want to tell him what it was. I wanted him to tell me, bro, you're talking about pitch accent. That's what I wanted. I sent him multiple messages, zero response. What happened to Matt versus Japan? Where is this guy? This guy who really makes great videos has literally dropped off the planet. I'm very sad about that. I met him, I think it was 6 months ago, and he said he was going to be making videos when he goes back to Japan, and he hasn't. Where is he? Is he still just doing that thing with Ken Cannon? Someone tell me. I don't know. But anyway, it's too late now because someone pointed it out in the comments that, bro, you're talking about pitch accent. I'm like, dang it. Well, I was actually hoping someone would notice. And they did. So, guys, I'm hereby officially claiming my crown as the first guy to ever teach you guys about pitch accent. Fight amongst yourselves in the comments. B Parker 6 says, I'm not a language expert, but I feel like pitch accent should be just one of those things you only worry about much later in your learning, like after you're done with book 5, etc. I do agree with the concept of just kind of being aware of what it is, because even in my video 21 years ago or 22 years ago, I did realize it was an important thing to sound better, but it's good for sound better. It doesn't help you learn Japanese. It's an impedance in learning Japanese in the beginning. Absolutely an impedance, because it's another layer of things you have to learn. It's another reason you might quit. You know, there's only so much weight that your brain could take, and adding pitch accent when it's not necessary for 99% of the time is a problem. You're not going to sound good with pitch accent anyway. Until you've done a lot of Japanese, you're not even going to be close to sounding good. So you're going to try to add perfection on top of that. And then, by the way, we bring this up all the time, but that pitch accent only works in Hyojin Japanese, in standard Japanese. It doesn't work for everywhere. Kansai area doesn't have the same pitch accent. So, okay, great. Your perfect Tokyo accent in Kansai area. Justin says, Justy-zan, atama daka naka daka odaka heiban. I know the basics and now I can hear the pitch accent on words most of the time, but I still think it messes with my brain when I try to output perfectly. Absolutely. A lot of people that I talk to that know who Dogen is say he sounds robotic. I don't think everyone says that, but I've heard that opinion, and I've held that opinion that he's trying to be perfect, makes him overthink, and makes it hard for him to have a normal conversation because he's stuck on being perfect. It's like a type of OCD, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong. He's great. He's a way better YouTuber than me. He's bigger than me. So I'm punching up, if anything. I'm not punching down, thank God. Thank universe. Do I want to sound like him? No. Do I sometimes look at my Japanese and go, wow, that sucked? Yeah. I'm better now than I was. But when I look at myself in the past, I go, wow, I probably could have used pitch accent. Honestly. Hey, if you want to know more about pitch accent, go to Dogen's channel. Apparently, every time I talk about him, he makes a lot more money. He's a good salesman.
Hey guys, it's a few days later after that live stream, and I just want to wrap it up and say that in the end, I think that what Matt and Dogen do are a great service. I gain nothing from them getting more viewers, but I think you'll gain something out of knowing a little bit about what pitch accent is. And for some of you, you will absolutely love it. And for those of you that don't love it, it's okay to not do it or to do it, whatever makes sense to you. And maybe if you're a higher level of Japanese, you should do it. But let's all be friends. Let's not disparage each other, although I did a little bit of that in that video. It was a live stream, so it was a little bit off the cuff. But please understand that I have massive respect for both Matt and Dogen. To each his own. We're all a kind of rather small community of people that try to teach Japanese, and whatever helps you get better in Japanese, I think is great. So don't let anything discourage you. If something I do discourages you, maybe stop watching me. And maybe if something on the other side stops you from going forward, maybe take a break from them or stop watching them. Remember, ultimately, in the end, we all have a similar goal of getting good in Japanese, whether that level is here or here. Just enjoy it. Don't make it too much of a task, in my opinion, and you'll eventually get there. And you won't get there overnight. No matter what you do, there's no magic pill. It's going to take you a long time to get there. But eventually when you're there, you'll look back and go, okay, pitch accent was this or that. You'll have a much better opinion of it once you're further on. But maybe just take a look at it. That's what I'll say. Take a look at it. I think it's interesting. All right, guys. Bye. See you on the next live stream.